Hello students, am I audible? Good afternoon everybody. Okay, done. So tell me if there is anything you, is there any doubt related to last class, anything you want to ask till the things we have done till now? Because today we will start with a very important as well as a little difficult portion of Buddhism. Buddhism notoriously famous, Buddhism and Vedanta. I told you in the starting itself, these two have some portion which are really profound, very deep, and which will require a philosophical understanding of the issue of the Buddhism as a philosophy. So before we start today's topic of Mahayana Buddhism, so I want to ask if the things we have done till now, is it clear? Or do you people want a recap? Yes, Vikas, please ask. पूछो जो भी आप लोगों के doubts हैं. Any doubts about Buddhism till now? You can ask me. quick recap we will do. Don't worry, वो तो करेंगे ही करेंगे. That's the ritual we follow. Buddha's teaching is to detach from desire, but isn't it a way to attach with liberation or nirvana? Because we did it yesterday also, that at the end, you even have to detach from the desire to liberate, because ultimately no desire has to be left, no desire. If there is any desire, if there is anything which binds you to this world, or anything which binds you to anything, then you cannot achieve nirvana. Nirvana will be there only if you are completely desireless. There are no positive, negative feelings. There is no desires of any kind. Only then the nirvana will be reached. And to do this, you also have to get away or move away from the desire for nirvana also. So the last step, हमने samadhi वाला पढ़ा था. There in the third point, we read that you even have to detach from the joy of tranquility. That is the joy of nirvana itself. Aman, ma'am, was Buddha symbolized by a tree because he gained enlightenment below a tree? Yes, so a lot of symbols have been associated with Buddha's life, like the Chakra Parivartan with the wheel, the horse, the stupas, the tree, and etc. But all of these are not part of philosophy. All of these are mainly part of culture or ancient Indian thing, which is important for your prelims and mains for GS portion, not for philosophy. Liberation itself is a desire. Yes, that is why. No? So initially there will be a desire to liberate, but to liberate, one has to overcome the desire of liberation itself. आपको वो desire भी खत्म करनी पड़ेगी. Abhinav, ma'am, I have a doubt in Jainism PYQs. Okay, ask. Irfan, ma'am, is Samanya Lakshana of Vaisheshika. We want to say Vaisheshika. Class characters. Yes, but अभी तो हम लोगों ने किया नहीं ना ये सब. So why will you ask such question? How that desire to move by teaching of Buddha? Oh, that again. So how will you detach from other things? Similarly, you will detach from the desire of liberation itself. And currently, we will not be able to understand because that is the higher level. So when you have detached yourself from other things, only then you can reach a stage where you can think about detaching yourself from even the desire to liberate. So it is like if to a third class student you try to teach him quantum mechanics of PhD level, will that person be able to understand? No, because it has to be the level thing. So that desire to the removal of desire is not easy. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of yogic practices to remove rules. And that is why even Buddha took a lot of time to meditate and get to that level of Buddhahood. And a lot of monks try for their complete life to remove desires from their life. It is not easy. And ultimately to reach that stage where you can even remove the desire to liberate, highest level. Examine Jaina's stance of Nyaya. How does it differ from Syadvad? So we have already done it. So Syadvad says that there are, you have to understand it like this. Nyaya is the any judgment. Any sentence you speak, any statement you say is Nyaya. And now you can say the statements in three ways. Durniti. Durniti means when you say a partial statement as absolute or relative statement as absolute. Second is नए. तो दोनों नए हैं. Judgment भी नए हैं, सारी judgments भी नए हैं, और जो unsubscribed, unqualified judgment है वो भी नए हैं. दोनों को नए कहा जाता है. And the unqualified judgment, where you do not prescribe, do not clarify whether it is absolute or relative, that is also नए. And pramad is when you add syad. And when you add the syad, which relates to the understanding that whatever you are saying, whatever statement you are making, it is only from a relative point of view. You are not saying the absolute truth. आप क्या कह रहे हो? From my perspective, in my time and space, this is what I have perceived to be true. In this sense, you give a kind of a clarity to the person. So when you develop this, when you develop through Syadvad, Jain says that it is the logic is not binary, yes and no, but the logic has sevenfold statements. एक ही चीज के बारे में, about the same thing, you can make 7 different types of statement, with all of them may be right, and this is where Saptabhangi Nyaya comes into practice. And Panchskand has root, Vedana, Sangya, Sanskar, Vigyan. If we think me as a human being has two things, body and soul, then we can say soul is made up of Vedana, Sangya, Sanskar, Vigyan, and body is root. We can say that, but actually when Buddha says, Buddha has not said anything as a specific soul. Soul कुछ बोला नहीं है ना. तो ये जो चारों और प्लस बॉडी, बिना बॉडी के तो कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता ना. अगर हम ऐसा if we understand with this classification, then it appears that Roop is body, whereas these 4 are something different, which is soul. But Buddha is not accepting such thing. According to Buddha, the combination of Roop, Vedana, Sangya, Sanskar, and Vigyan, all of these together are being. इकट्ठे है, ये क्या है? Being. He has not said anything like body or soul. उन्होंने body और soul वाली बात करी ही नहीं है. According to them, according to Buddha, these together form an entity which is being. Simple. Because if you say, just like a chariot, if you remove wheels, can you say that it is still a chariot? No, because chariot means having all the components. So here we cannot say that soul is these 4. According to Buddha, all of these together form a human being or being itself. Ma'am, in Swavikalp knowledge, what are the categories already present in the mind? So Irfan, there are a lot of categories which are already present in the mind, something like color, something like object, something like material. So all of these are categories, but we don't have to go inside it because that's not part of our syllabus. The categories are something similar to the Kant. When we will be in Western philosophy Kant, you will understand them better. But for now, there are numerous categories through which our mind understands the perceptions themselves. Is Praman and Syadvad same? Syadvad is the principle and Praman is about a specific sentence. Syadvad उस पूरी थ्योरी को कहते हैं जहाँ पे आप रिलेटिव स्टेटमेंट्स के बारे में बात करते हो. It is the way in which you speak, and overall speech. Whereas Pramad is about a particular statement. So Syadvad says that you should talk in a manner where you qualify your relative stance. आपने अपनी qualify कर दिया. Qualify कर दिया मतलब आपने बता दिया that whatever I am saying is true from my perspective. This is Syadva. And when you talk about specific statement, like when you start saying Syad, the pen exists, this particular thing, this statement is known as Praman. Syadva does not categorize knowledge. Are these categories class characters? No, not exactly, but yes, if you want to understand them for now, you can think like this, but not exactly class characters. Arpita, ma'am, we have a big test on 16th October, so philosophy test. If philosophy test, if we get a little time, that would be a little helpful. How much time do you want, Arpita? So much time I have already given you, isn't it? Isn't this the time you people are having for your revision? Online classes are what? 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours maximum. That's the engagement. Rest of the time, what are you doing? You have to study for the test, the upcoming philosophy test. And don't fear from tests. Nothing. 16th, give exam. If it is in the morning, then in the afternoon, you give another exam. Don't worry. Remember, you have to prepare for your mains. And in mains, you have to write 2 exams per day. So just be, get into that groove and practice. Is Nevad also the same concept as Ne? Yes, Nevad is the theory which characterizes the Ne, and Ne is the judgment itself. Abhinav. Pratibha. Ma'am, when question is about liberation of Jain, then should we have to write the Samiti, Mahavrat, Dharm and all? Is it compulsory? Yes. Ultimately, liberation means what? How will you reach the liberation of Jains? If you do not practice Samiti, Mahavrat, Dharm nahi hoga, 10 dharmas you are writing. So, if you are not following all these paths, how will one achieve liberation in Jain? So, agar liberation pe question hai, to compulsorily likhna hai ye sab. If we do Nishkam Karm, then in the next step or time, how we can motivate to do right things. Nishkam Karm is possible now. Yes, it is possible, because it is very much possible. It is the, just you have to get a little more matured to understand what is a Nishkam Karm. And, we can get motivated to do right things. Because, motivated in the sense, motivation should not be personal or private or selfish. We can have motivation just for the universal good. But again, to understand this, you will have to be a little more mature. Because Nishkam Karm is a deep philosophy. It's a deep philosophy which needs a certain level of understanding in our mind. If you go and tell a school student or a college student, "Bache Nishkam Karm karna hai," Nishkam Karm matlab, so we should not think about the results. So why we will study if we are not getting selected? Why we will study if we are not getting money out of it? Why we will do this if we are not getting something out of it? So till the time your mind is full of desires, lust, pride, ego, and all these kalesh or all these kashai in Jainism, or all these passions that we have, till the time we are not, we are having these passions, these kalesh or these types of tendencies of selfishness, we cannot understand what is Nishkam Karm. To understand Nishkam Karm, पहले जो menial desires है material world की, उनसे थोड़ा सा ऊपर उठना पड़ेगा. So only then you will be able to understand Nishkam Karm. But yes, if you understand it and if you start living your life with Nishkam Karm, it becomes pretty easy, peaceful, and at the same time, you get a lot of success if you start doing Nishkam Karm. Ma'am, on which day do we have philosophy test? Aman. Yes, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Let's keep it on 13th. Will it do? है ना 13th को हम लोग फिलोसफी का टेस्ट कर लेते हैं. 13th चारवाक, Jain and Buddhism. Fine, all of you good? Second question, according to the Hinyan school, non-living things are material and they are made up of 4 material atoms and thus have no soul. Is the above statement correct? They will not say soul. They don't have other skand. Soul तो है ही नहीं ना बुद्धा की philosophy में. Soul is made up of 5 skand. है ना अतुल? So we have to understand in Buddha's philosophy, there are 5 skandhas which makes up the complete world. सारा world किस चीज से बना हुआ है? 5 skandhas. What are the 5 skandhas? So what are the 5 skandhas? One is Roop. Now this Roop is made up of 4 types of Pramanu, which are earth, water, air, and fire. Apart from this, there are skandhas like Vedana, Sanya, Sanskar, and Vigyan. Now, when these 5 come together, it becomes a conscious being. Conscious being क्या है? जिसमें consciousness है, like human beings, like animals. But if you say only things, there are things which have only Roop. Only Roop means which have no Vedana, Sanya, Sanskar, and Vigyan. Those are material objects. लेकिन ये कौन believe कर रहा है? This is being believed by Hinayan. And Hinayan is also known as Sarvastivād. Sarva means all. Asti means hair or exists. Vad means theory. According to this, all things exist independently. Sarvastivād, Hinayan. Ma'am, when will be the test? Shivani, 13th. Let's keep it on 13. Ma'am, when is the test? अरे बता तो दिया सब एक ही सवाल. Ma'am, what is the difference between dharma and Udgal Niratmavad? So Udgal says that there is no permanent eternal soul. Udgal का मतलब ही soul है. So Udgal Niratma means there is no eternal entity like soul. Whereas dharma means there is no permanent qualities within each thing. कोई क्वालिटी परमानेंट नहीं है, कोई चीज भी परमानेंट नहीं है, कोई क्वालिटी भी परमानेंट नहीं है. You have to understand it like this. Neither the thing is permanent, therefore the things are momentary. Similarly, the qualities within that thing are also not permanent and they are also changing. Example, the pen itself is momentary. Plus the quality, that is the color white, is also momentary. ये yellow हो जाएगा, मेरे हाथ गंदे होंगे, ये black हो जाएगा. So you know the dharma or the quality itself are changing. Okay, ma'am, what is the Tattvad theory of Jainism? That we will do. Don't worry. We will understand it in a deep sense, but you will be better able to understand once we have completed a few more philosophies. Especially once we complete the Vedanta part, the Tattvad theory will hold a lot of significance and you will better understand it. अभी मैं आपको बता दूंगी, लेकिन you know the understanding part will be a little shallow because Tattvad is a very deep philosophy which is linked to Jain philosophy, but उसको आखिरी में करने में हमें ज़्यादा अच्छे समझ में आएगा. So wait for that. Ma'am, 4 Arya Satya according to Buddhism. Short notes. How to write conclusion? Please explain. Conclusion you write. Nirvana, liberation. What else? So 4 Arya Satya. किसने करने हैं? किसने दिए बुद्धा ने 4 Arya Satya? Why did he give these 4 noble truths? Because ultimately he wanted to remove suffering and attain what? Nirvana. So conclusion should be detailed over Nirvana and removal of suffering. Ma'am, if the question says discuss and explain some particular theory, then also we do have to write criticism or just the theory. Criticism we have to write always. Remember this. There is no philosophy without criticism. Because until and unless you criticize the other person, why are there other theories being given them? So each theory has some criticism and we have to write whatever the question is. But is transtheism? अभी हमने नहीं करा. This will come as a part of your philosophy of religion. There we can think. लो बता दिया सिद्धार्थ ने, लेकिन बता ही दिया है. बट इसको अभी यहाँ पे पढ़ने की आपको जरूरत नहीं है, ठीक है. Please, ma'am, we have a test on 13. Me and Navya, she is not here today. Monica. Okay. No. Simran, Monica, देखो, we will have to have the test as quick as possible because I will be back on 15th night. So 16th, there will be an offline class as usual. But if we don't actually, if we have test after that, we will have to take 1 day more off. And it doesn't make sense because, I want to finish your syllabus as early as possible with, of course, completing the whole thing with practice and everything. So I don't want to, cancel a class again. But let me see this request of yours, 17th now. Let me see. Why all the philosophies and philosophers want to eliminate the rebirth, as they themselves know that there is an existence of rebirth or not? How do they decide the purpose of life? Maybe suffering or fight against it is the purpose of life. If it is not, what is the aim of life? Oh goodness, Vikas, ज़्यादा emotional होने की ज़रूरत नहीं है regarding philosophy. Your aim. Remember your aim. Your aim is to clear UPSC, and don't get emotional about philosophies as such. So currently, you should be thinking only in the sense that this is the philosophy. These are all the facts or the points or the arguments philosophies have given, and you have to write it in your answers. But exactly, don't become too engrossed in philosophical matters. Be very objective. This is an exam. This is an exam of UPSC. You have to clear it. Fine. Khatam. Bas. For now, all your indulgence regarding philosophy you can have after your selection. The purpose of life to sab dhoond hi rahe hain. All philosophies are doing what? They are trying to find the purpose of life. That is why there are so many philosophies. Does Sarvastivad mean everything is real? Yes, Irfan. How much points should be written in criticism, ma'am? Depending on the question. If the question is discussed, then you can write 2, 3, 4 points. Or if the question is critically analyzed or the criticism is specifically, then 7, 8 points at least. Can we give test on a later day after or before class? No. There will be test on the same date, same time for everybody. Ma'am, if question is about Pratyutti Samutpad, should we write the circular diagram or explanation is enough? You should make, Ritik, you should make the complete chart because diagrammatical representation is easy, takes less time, gives better understanding of the topic you are doing. Ma'am, according to Buddha, is suffering temporary or permanent? Of course, it is temporary because there is a cause of suffering, and if you remove the cause, it will go. I told you, no, Buddha has accepted, or rather, in philosophy, if we understand in philosophy, when we say real, something is real or permanent, we mean permanent for all times. ऐसी चीज जो कभी खत्म नहीं हो सकती. But suffering can go. Therefore, suffering is temporary. So remember that thing. Okay, fine. Let us now continue with our Yogacar philosophy. Atul, if we draw a Dwadas Nidan cycle, should we explain each block? Depending on the question. If the question is directly on Dwadas Nidan itself and its explanation, of course you will explain. But if the question is about something else, but Dwadas Nidan is being used as a supporting theory, then nahi aap explain karoge na. It will all depend on your questions. You people have become accustomed, you people want कि एक solution मिल जाए सारे questions का. ऐसा possible नहीं है ना? Depending on the question, you will have to rearrange your content. This is the content which will cater to all the questions. And now you see the question and then alter your content. उसका proportion, उसका style, उसका orientation change करो. वही answer writing skill है. अगर सिर्फ और सिर्फ कंटेंट छापना ही होता तो सब लोग मतलब सिलेक्ट हो जाते ना. We have to understand that we have to modulate, and this is what is practice. That is why practice is required, beta, है ना? Okay, so let us do a quick recap. So Buddha, he became disenchanted with the worldly things. He realized भाई सबको illness आती है, सब मरते हैं, there is suffering, etc. He tried various ways and reached to his 4 noble truths. After meditation, he reached these 4 noble truths. The first one is suffering. Suffering means suffering. Everyone has suffering. There is no escape from suffering. Second, this suffering has a cause. Suffering has a cause. So from this second noble truth comes the philosophy of Pratitya Samutpat, which are the 12 causal links. And because things are causal in nature, therefore it leads to Anityavad. Anityavad is the theory of non-permanence. Nothing is permanent. And because things are not permanent, therefore it leads to the theory of Kshanikvad. What is Kshanikvad? Theory of momentariness, that things exist only for a moment. And from this Kshanikvad, there comes two kinds of understanding. First is Sanatanvad, then Sanghatvad. These are the two corollaries or the attached theories with it. Sanatanvad means theory of flow, and Sanghatvad means theory of aggregates. Fine. After Kshanikvad, because things exist for a moment itself, therefore, when it is applied to the conscious element, when this thing is applied to the soul also, whatever the normal person understands as soul or consciousness, this means that soul is also Kshanik. Soul is also Kshanik. This means soul is also momentary. And this leads to the philosophy of Nir Atmavad. Nir Atmavad, या फिर इसी को और क्या कह देते हैं? What is the other name for it? An Atmavad. और क्या कह देते हैं इसी चीज को? No soul theory. Actually, all of these are not the correct names, but yes, because the philosophy has become popular by this name, therefore we are saying this. So it says that there is no permanent soul. कोई भी permanent eternal soul नहीं है in Buddha. There is no permanent eternal soul. Rather, the correct name should have been, yes, you all are correct, Anityatmavad. This is the correct interpretation. Now, when we talk about Niratmavad itself can be classified or can be divided into two parts or two interpretations. One is Pudgal Niratme. Pudgal Niratme means that there is no permanent thing which we can say as soul. Kuch soul hai nahi, permanent. All the soul, the thing which we are saying as soul is nothing but a composite or a collection of 5 skandhas, and those 5 things themselves are changing and momentary. Therefore, there is nothing permanent. Pudgal Niratme plus Dharma Niratme. What is Dharma Niratme? It says that the nature or qualities of these things also change. मतलब ये जो 5 स्कंद हैं इनकी क्वालिटीज भी चेंज होती हैं हर वक्त. Like there is no permanent soul in us. In this, if we try to understand it through my example, so according to Buddha, what is this? What am I? I am a collection of 5 skandhas. 5 skandhas are there. They collectively make me. So there is no permanent soul of Tanujan, but rather a continuously momentary state of these 5 skandhas together, which appear as if there is someone as one. So ये जो असलियत में कोई एक है ही नहीं. So all the thing that we see is a momentum first. Then the dharma or the qualities of each one is changing. The qualities of all the 5 skandhas are changing, and the quality of soul itself is changing. पहले तो कोई permanent soul है ही नहीं. फिर उनकी qualities भी permanent नहीं है. धर्म निरात में. Exactly. Like, so sometimes the soul is sad, sometimes the soul is happy. Soul तो है ही मतलब the 5 skandhas. So sometimes the momentary soul or the 5 skandhas make me happy, sometimes doubting, sometimes this, sometimes that. So it is like the complete spectrum is there. Dharma Niratma. There is nothing, no permanent qualities or nature of things. So with this, हमारा एक spectrum पूरा होता है. And we saw after this that the moment we identify, third क्या है? There is a way to cease suffering. Suffering को हटाने का एक तरीका है. क्या तरीका है? What is the third noble truth? There is a way to remove suffering. How we can remove suffering? So according to Buddha, suffering is like an effect. Therefore, there must be some cause. What is the cause of suffering? Ignorance. Ignorance about what? Ignorance about the temporariness of the reality. We feel that everything is permanent, like the love we have for our parents, for the world, for the things we see. You know, so you see a phone, you feel like ये तो मेरा है. मेरा मतलब कितने दिन के लिए? So you don't understand. So it feels like things that you own are yours, but the things are impermanent. You yourself are impermanent. What is the ownership about? So the ignorance, because of this ignorance, what is there? Clingingness or attachment. But if you remove this clingingness, if you remove this okay. So if you remove this clingingness, if you remove this ignorance, the cause is removed. Therefore, if there is no cause, will there be suffering? Suffering is also removed. So, but how to reach it? Now the question is how we can reach this, how we can remove this cause, how we can remove this clingingness, the Buddha, which Buddha is talking about. So the fourth noble truth is about eightfold path. Ashtangik marg, that we also saw. What is it? Right drishti, right this complete eightfold path we have discussed yesterday. So that eightfold path, if you follow completely, slowly and steadily, the attachment will start moving away, and there will come a state where there is no attachment. And when the attachment is gone, when there is no attachment, suffering is gone. That is, you achieve what? Nirvana. So you achieve this nirvana, which was the ultimate goal of Buddha. Now, after this, we started with the schools of Buddhism. In schools of Buddhism, we said that there are numerous Buddhism schools, more than 65. But majorly, they have been classified into four major, or rather two major. One is Hinayana, second is Mahayana. And why this Hinayana is called as Hinayana? Because it is understood as a lesser vehicle. What is lesser vehicle? Lesser vehicle means that Hinayanists are the people who believe in the personal liberation. According to these people, Buddha was a man who moved away from his attachment by following eightfold path and attained nirvana. What is the kind of nirvana that these people follow, or what is the way in which they have accepted the word? So if we understand, according to Hinayana, ये सब कब develop हुए? एक understanding और कब develop हुए? Many years after the Buddha's death. So this is not what Buddha has said. These are the adjustments or interpretations of Buddha's theory. So Buddha, when talking about things, he did not say, Buddha ने कभी specify नहीं किया whether material things exist or not exist. Never specified. He never specified what are the pramans through which we can know the word. No, he was not concerned with metaphysics or epistemology. इनके बारे में उन्होंने कभी बात ही नहीं करी. But the schools, Hinayana and Mahayana, they wanted to talk about it. And because Buddha was silent, they interpreted the silence of Buddha according to their own understanding. अपने आप से, अपनी मर्जी से, अपनी कन्वीनियंस के अनुसार इन्होंने बुद्धा की साइलेंस को इंटरप्रेट करके मेटाफिजिक्स और एपिस्टेमोलॉजी दे दी. In simple terms. So according to Hinayana, the world is real. The world is real and independent. Matlab, the things that we see, chair, table, people, all are real. ये सब कुछ real है, separate. And how is it made up of? So these gross things are made up of atoms or anu, which are further made up of Pramanu, and these are all momentary in nature. So Anu, Pramanu are momentary in nature with momentary qualities. Qualities भी कैसे खुद भी momentary हैं और qualities कैसी हैं? Qualities भी momentary हैं. Momentary dharma or qualities. And because the qualities changes every time, they themselves are changing every time. Therefore, the world, they accept what? Pratitya Samutpad. But Pratitya Samutpad will be applicable where? it will be applicable to the material world as well. Plus the Sanghat of 5 skandhas. जो 5 स्कंध है यानी कि जिसको हम सोल समझते हैं वो भी उस पे भी मोमेंटरीनेस अप्लाई होगी. This in according to Hinian, therefore the world is real. And in Hinian there were 2 schools we studied yesterday. One was Vaibhashika and second was Sutantrika. Those schools इसके अंदर आते हैं Hinian में. There are 2 schools in Hinian. Irfan, how is it independent when there is causal efficiency? Independent from consciousness. Even if I don't observe, this pen will exist. Here independent means that this pen will exist even if I am not looking at it. Independent existence of the objects. Of course, they are connected by causal efficiency. लेकिन यहाँ पे किस independence की बात हो रही है? Independence from our perception and awareness. Yes, absolutely fine. Fine. So in Hinian there are 2 schools. दोनों की metaphysics क्या है? Same. Both of them adopt the same metaphysics. Metaphysics is not different. Then why do they split? क्यों अलग-अलग हुए? क्या झगड़ा था इनके बीच में? झगड़ा था epistemology. Now, Vaibhashika school says that we can know the world through perception. We can directly perceive things. And how we can do perception? It is done in 2 steps. Nirvikalp and Savikalp. So we see something raw sensations. When raw sensations aati hai, then our mind puts these raw sensations and organize them into knowledge. So this is how we know the real world. But Sutantrika says, if you say the perception, through perception we know the world, it is not possible because it doesn't go well with Kshanikvad philosophy, because Kshanikvad says things exist only for a kshan or a moment. And if in one kshan you perceive, and in the second kshan, first kshan, then in second kshan, you get the knowledge. So by the time you get the knowledge, this thing has stopped existing. और ये किसमें दूसरा कुछ बन गया है. The next moment तो नई entity बन जाएगी. So जब knowledge आई तब तक तो जो चीज जान रहे थे वो तो थी ही नहीं. तो हमें कैसे पता चला? क्योंकि हमने कहाँ से किया? कैसे पता चला इसके बारे में? Because from these sensations we inferred the knowledge of last क्षण. जो ये जा चुका है इस क्षण के बारे में हमें inference से पता चलता है. Now they say all the knowledge we get is from inference. Therefore, this school is also known as Bahai Anumevad. Bahai means external. Anume means external reality is known by inference. Vad means theory. And because these accept as perception, these are known as Bahai Pratyaksh. But Bahai matlab external world is known by Pratyaksh means experience. Vad means theory. But when Vaibhashika sees कि ये तो inference की बातें कर रहे हैं, इसने क्या defense किया? Vaibhashika said that even inference is based on vyapti, and vyapti can only be made if you perceive things. If it is not perceived, if you do not perceive anything, how can you make vyapti and how can you infer? Therefore, they say that perception must be there. So basically, they are fighting over perception and inference, nothing else. Not very, not a great fight, but yes, a little bit here and there. Now, these both Vaibhashika and Sutantrika, because they are Hinyanist, because they are Hinyan philosophy, what kind of nirvana do they accept? They accept the negative conception of it. What kind of nirvana they accept? They accept the negative conception of nirvana. What is the negative conception of nirvana? So we are linked by 12 causal links. भाव चक्र है ना, जो ये द्वादश निदान है ना, इसके बहुत सारे नाम हैं, बहुत सारे द्वादश निदान. This is also known as भाव चक्र. This is also known as 12 causal wheel. This is also known as Pratitya Samutpad. And various other names. और भी 10-5 names निकलेंगे. Also known as Dharma Chakra. Various names. आप बुक में देखोगे, नोट्स में देखोगे, 10-15 नाम और निकल आएंगे. All of this but refer to the same thing. Same ही चीज है जिसके बारे में बात हो रही है. So we are in bondage. We are in the cycle of this culture. We are in the bondage that we are in the cycle of this birth and death because one thing causes another, another thing causes another. So causal and cause and effect is continuously going on, and it is like a vicious cycle. This chain can be broken if we stop the ignorance. If we remove the ignorance, then we can stop the chain. And how can we remove the ignorance? By following the eightfold path. When you follow the eightfold path, what do you realize? You realize the Patitya Samat path. You realize that things are not permanent. And when you see the impermanence of everything, when you see that everything exists for a moment and then it's gone, then you lose attachment. आपकी attachment खत्म हो जाती है. अगर ये पता चल जाए कि जिसको अभी हम प्यार कर रहे हैं, जिसको हम अपना ब्रदर, भाई, बहन मान रहे हैं, पिछले जन्म में उसने ही हमारा खून किया था या उससे पहले जन्म में उसने हमें धोखा दे दिया, you lose. Will there be attachment? No. So it is just like the things are moving in a continuous cause and effect, and things are momentary. Things are changing all the time, and no nature is permanent. Today someone is loving towards us, tomorrow they will change because the nature will change. Now, when you realize this, then with this attachment is gone, and when attachment is gone, this cycle is broken. And when the cycle is broken, you attain nirvana. Very simple as that. And this is the negative conception of nirvana. This means you just remove suffering. Sirf suffering khatam ho jati hai, the removal of suffering. Will the person attain any kind of happiness? No. No happiness. कोई happiness नहीं मिल रही. Peace मिल रहा है क्या? No peace, no happiness. Not even existence is promised. How they have explained nirvana? How Hinayanists have explained nirvana? According to them, just like when a lamp has used all its oil, जब तक oil है तब तक जलती रहेगी ये वाली law. The flame will continue to brighten or lit till the time there is oil. But once the oil is finished, what happens to the flame? Once the oil of karma is finished, when the karmas are exhausted, when the balance of karma becomes zero, what happens next? The next thing is the flame goes off. Flame chali gayi, khatam. Kahan gayi? Kahan gayi flame? Did it go to the heaven, hell, any other world? No, it just goes away. So they explain nirvana as being blown away or goes away. So there is nothing that remains. And one is freed from the cycle of birth and rebirth. बार बार मरने से, rebirth से छुटकारा मिल जाता है. This is the Hinayanic conception of Pratitya Samutpad till nirvana. Fine. If there is any doubt, ask me, because after this we are going to start with our philosophy of Mahayana. Atul, can we say in Sir-Vikalp we actually apply our logics in the Nirvikalp to deduce something? Yes, we can say that. Absolutely, we can say that. Ashutosh, direct perception and theory of flow doesn't go hand in hand. So perception can be really fast. Lot of inconsistencies, Ashutosh, definitely. Aman, ma'am, but since nirvana is just the realization of ignorance, then why is it impossible to achieve it while being alive? No, it is possible. In nirvana also, there are two types of nirvana. Abhi hum proper pura bhi karenge na. But if you understand it like this, in nirvana, there are two types of nirvana that have been accepted by Buddhism. We have done it yesterday also. One is Jivan Mukti. So when Buddha became Buddha, he achieved Jivan Mukti. He achieved Jivan Mukti in the sense he realized the ignorance is there and he removed the ignorance. But still Buddha existed for another 30-40 years. Why did he exist after that? Because even though he's not accumulating new karma, he has to pay for the earlier karmas. Achha, is it a difficult concept of nirvana in Buddhism? Okay, wait. Fine. Jivan Mukti and Vidya Mukti, you understand? No, it's not confusing. You have to understand. Hin Yan. Nirvan क्या है? So if some people, अगर हम निर्वाण को overall देखें, hold on a second. अगर हम निर्वाण को एज ए कंप्लीट कॉन्सेप्ट समझने की कोशिश करें, व्हाट इज निर्वाण? निर्वाण इज liberation from birth and death, the cycle of birth and death. We are talking about liberation. Now when we are saying removal of birth and death, there are two ways to interpret it. One way to interpret is everything is gone, negative conception, सिर्फ suffering हट गई, यानी कि birth and death हट गया, खत्म, soul भी खत्म, everything ends. So you are not in the cycle anymore. And the second conception, very positive conception, where nirvana means that you remove suffering and attain what? Attain a happy, peaceful state. आप एक happy, peaceful state को attain कर लेते हैं. अभी जो happy, peaceful state है क्या है? It is something very similar to Siddhshila of Jainism. Jainism का Siddhshila क्या है? Positive conception. वहां पे अंत में जाके निर्वाण मिलने के बाद क्या होता है? निर्वाण मिलने के बाद after a person achieves nirvana, they become infinitely happy, infinitely powerful, infinite knowledge, power, bliss, all of these things. Anant Chatushte, all the four anants or infinites you get. Positive conception. But for Hinyan Buddhism, it is the negative conception. क्यों एग्जिस्ट कर रहे थे? तो अगर मैं आपको फिलोसॉफिकली समझाऊं, इन बुद्धिस्ट फिलोसफी व्हाई थिंग्स वर एक्सिस्टिंग? बिकॉज दे वर बीइंग कॉज्ड बाय समथिंग. दे वर बीइंग कॉज्ड बाय समथिंग. अर्थ क्रिया करित्वा. Things exist only if they are caused. If they can cause something, causal efficiency. This is also known as theory of causal efficiency. ये हमने किया है ना, लास्ट क्लासेस में हम लोगों ने कवर किया है. So existence according to Buddhism means something which has the power to cause something. Things exist because they are caused. And why are they caused? Because they, well, rather everything is in a cycle of cause and effect. चीजें cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. So according to this, even the birth and death of us, the suffering, तो suffering की शुरुआत हुई, यहाँ से चलो suffering की शुरुआत हुई. क्यों सफर कर रहे हैं? क्योंकि ये है, क्योंकि ये है. This is द्वादश निदान, है ना? The 12 links. हम क्यों चीजें एग्जिस्ट कर रही हैं? क्योंकि कॉजल इफेक्ट है, कॉज एंड इफेक्ट है. सफरिंग क्यों है? फिर सफरिंग भी इसीलिए क्योंकि पूरी कॉज एंड इफेक्ट की चेन में वो अटका हुआ है. नाउ व्हाई वी आर सफरिंग? बिकॉज वी आर इग्नोरेंट. ठीक है. इफ वी रिमूव द इग्नोरेंस, अगर हमने कॉज हटा दिया तो इफेक्ट आएगा क्या? विल देयर बी इफेक्ट? नो. सो सोल वाज एग्जिस्टिंग because there was a cause. But if the cause is gone, will the soul exist or not exist? Not exist. Simply. This is the negative conception of nirvana. अब इस बात को समझाने के लिए what Buddha has done? Buddha has used an analogy. कैसे समझाएंगे आसानी से लोगों को? इतनी मुश्किल फिलोसफी क्या समझ में आएगी आम आदमियों को? नहीं समझ में आएगी. आप उनको बोलो कि भाई निर्वाण में क्या होगा? You will stop existing. अब उन्हें नहीं समझ में आएगा what is stop existing. तो उनके लिए उन्होंने क्या analogy दी? How he made him understand? Made them understand. He said, just as if there is a lamp, अगर लैम्प है और उसके अंदर क्या है? घी. घी क्या है यहाँ पे? कर्मास. कर्म है. तो जब तक आप कर्म करते रहोगे, till the time there are karmas, new karmas happening all the time, the flame or the consciousness or these things will continue to happen. Something or the other will continue to happen. You will be continuously in the fight of birth and death. तो ये कर्म है, ये फ्लेम है. जैसे ये बर्थ मानो, बर्थ, और जैसे ही ये फ्लेम बुझेगी, इससे पहले ये क्या करेगी? ये दूसरी फ्लेम को जगा देगी, रीबर्थ. फिर ये मरेगी, ये अगली फ्लेम को जगा देगी. इस तरह से बर्थ रीबर्थ होते होते जो एक कर्म है, ये ट्रांसफर होते जाते हैं. कर्म कैसे ट्रांसफर होते हैं? थ्रू संस्कार. संस्कार से थ्रू संस्कार these karmas get transferred. So balance है. यहाँ पे इसने 100 कर्म किए, उसमें से 50 अच्छे थे, 50 बुरे थे, या फिर 60 अच्छे थे, 40 बुरे थे. तो 60 अच्छे कर्मों का फल क्या हुआ? What happened? In this life, this person got birth into a very rich family. But there were 40 bad karmas also. Though he was rich, he was emotionally unhappy. Bad karmas also will take effect. So this is how. But now this person is also still doing karmas, which will become the repository of next birth. तो इस तरह से करता जाएगा. अगर हमें, if we have to stop this cycle, we have to stop the ignorance. This means that when a person sees Prakriti Samutpad, understands Prakriti Samutpad, understands Anityavad, Kshanikvad, all of these things, when they understand, the person realizes, oh, things to sab temporary hai, impermanent hai, why to get attached? So attachment is gone. And when the attachment is gone, suffering is gone. और जैसे ही attachment गई, आपके कर्म interested होंगे या disinterested होंगे? Interested कर्म मतलब you are doing some actions through some motivations. Like, I am doing this for this. You want results. But if you understand that everything is temporary, there is no need of being attached to anything. अभी आप काम कर रहे हो, लेकिन ये कैसे हैं actions? Disinterested action मतलब निष्काम कर्म. वही पुराना निष्काम कर्म of Gita. So when you start doing actions in a nishkam way, in a disinterested way, you stop accumulating karmas. तो आप नया कर्मा कुछ accumulate ही नहीं कर रहे. अभी जो आपका नया था ना, यहाँ पे आपने कुछ accumulate ही नहीं किया, खाली है. आपने एकदम खाली है. यहाँ पे कुछ लाइट करने के लिए है ही नहीं, है ना? यहाँ पे है ही नहीं कुछ लाइट करने के लिए. क्यों लाइट करने के लिए क्यों नहीं है? क्योंकि कर्माज ही नहीं है, खाली पड़ा है. और पर even after you attain the understanding, even after you remove the ignorance, there is some karma left in the old wick or the old lamp. And now if you remove slowly and steadily, ये वाला जो oil है ये भी burn up हो जाएगा. This oil will also get burned up. And when the oil gets burned up, what will happen to the flame? Flame will blow away, खत्म हो जाएगी, रुक जाएगी, बंद हो जाएगी. So now if there is no flame to light another flame, तो ये rebirth तो हुआ ही नहीं. Rebirth नहीं हुआ, cycle टूट गई. And where is this flame gone? The flame that was here, कहाँ चली गई वो flame? It stops existing because the thing which was causing it, जो ignorance थी, जो कर्म थे, which were causing the flame, which were causing the things to exist, is gone. This is how Buddha has explained nirvana. Is it clear now? What are 4 avyaktanis? It is written in your notes, which we have discussed yesterday. Just see your notes. Accumulation of karmas will have an effect on rebirth. Yes, absolutely. Only when there is accumulated karma, there will be rebirth. If karma are gone, then the rebirth will not happen. Fine? Okay, beta. Now let us start with Mahayana. Firstly, I'll give you a warning. Mahayana is a little difficult to understand. Generally, people are not able to understand it because they don't look at it from an open mind. So to understand it, I will say, keep your mind open. मैं जैसे समझा रही हूँ वैसे आप इसे समझ लेंगे, बिल्कुल अच्छे आंसर क्लिक कराएंगे, बहुत आसानी से समझ में आ जाएगा. Before you read it from anywhere, understand it how I am explaining it. After that, consolidate it. Consolidate our class notes first, and then you move on to read anything else. So Mahayana again is divided into two parts, two theories or two schools. One is Yogachar, or also it is known as, this school is also known as Vigyanvad. Another is Madhyamik Shunyavad. Two philosophies. So Mahayana itself is composed of two philosophies, two schools, Yogachar Vigyanvad and Madhyamik Shunyavad. Mahayana या फिर एक और बनाते हैं, एक बड़ा चार्ट बनाते हैं तो आपको मैं पूरी बात समझा पाऊंगी. Buddhism divided into, so Buddhism divided into Hinayana and Mahayana. According to Hinayana, things are real, so therefore Hinayanists are realist schools. According to them, things are real. Material world is real. Objects are real. That is why we have already studied this. In Mahayana, there is Yogachar, which says material things are not real. No material. What exists? Only consciousness exists. Then is Shunyavad. In Shunyavad, it says neither material things exist, neither conscious things exist. Shunyavad. The thing that exists is Shunya. Fine. So what is the division? Metaphysical division. Metaphysics पे divide हो गए. हिनयान किस पे डिवाइड हुआ था? हिनयान जब सौतांत्रिका और विभाषिका में डिवाइड हुआ था, वो epistemological question पे डिवाइड हुआ था. It divided on the epistemological question, but Mahayana divided on the metaphysical question. According to Yogachar, only reality is of consciousness and there is no material reality. अब इस बात को समझने के लिए let us understand it through science. If I tell you through science, it becomes easy. How many of you have heard about virtual reality? Virtual reality. What is a virtual reality? What is a virtual reality? Anyone? I'll explain. So, supposedly, online world. Yes, Monica. So, supposedly, intangible reality, dreams, illusions of reality. Okay. Yes, kind of. So, if we talk in the terms of technology, supposedly there is this person X, and this person X is wearing a virtual reality suit. Suit मतलब इसने एक ऐसा सूट पहन रखा है which is covering all the nerve endings, all the body parts, and now we can operate this suit from a machine, from our computer. If supposedly I activate the sensors in hand, जो उसने सूट पहन रखा है, जो उसने body suit पहन रखा है, the body suit this person is wearing, if I activate the sensors of his gloves or hands and they start to heat up, they start to appear as if it is heating. So what will be the sensations? What will this person get sensations? This person will get a sensation of fire. ये हाथ आग में जल रहा है. But actually में आग है क्या? Is there fire? There is only the activation of sensations of fire. Now, supposedly, on this bodysuit, I give a command that hold something. Now, this person is getting a sensation that this person is holding a glass. Eyes receptors are getting the visual sensations, and hand is getting a touch sensation. But there is no glass. There is no glass. कोई glass है ही नहीं. सिर्फ ऐसा लग रहा है कि glass है. तो क्यों लग रहा है? Because sensations है. Sensations तो हम modify कर सकते हैं ना. Through have you seen those game parlors today where in malls where they put something on your eyes? So they give you a glasses and they give you a racket. But you have to play the racket. Actually, there is no ball. कोई ball है ही नहीं. कोई playground है ही नहीं. But it appears to you as if you are playing with the ball on a playground. How does it happen? When there is no playground, when there is no ball, why does it feel there is a ball? Because ultimately, how do we perceive anything? कोई भी चीज हमें कैसे पता चलती है कि वो है? Through our sensations. And where are these sensations? कैसे पता चलते हैं sensations हैं? Sensations are always in consciousness. This means what is real according to Yogacar? According to Yogacar, only consciousness is real. Can you ever know anything which exists outside but is not being perceived? अगर कोई sensation हमें आए ही नहीं, तो हम क्या जान सकते हैं कि बाहर कुछ है? नहीं जान सकते. और हम किसी भी चीज को कैसे जानते हैं? Through sensation. Supposedly, you have this table outside जिस पे ये लैपटॉप या फोन आपका रखा होगा. Fine. How do you know there is a table outside? You are getting a sensation of touch because you can touch the table, and when you touch it, what do you get? A sensation of touch. Your eyes sees something, so there is this visual sensation. But apart from sensations, क्या sensations के beyond? What exactly is the table? Can you ever know? The only way to know reality is through sensations. But can you know what is beyond sensations? क्या sensations से अलग आप table को जान सकते हो? Supposedly, table is having 20 characteristics, but we can know only 5 क्योंकि हमारे पास कितनी sense organs हैं? 5 ही तो हैं. Touch, taste, smell, etc. So we have only 5 sensations, sensory organs. But ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है बाहर टेबल में 20 qualities हो, लेकिन हमें क्यों नहीं पता चल सकती? Can we know these 20 qualities? No, we can know only 5. The rest we can never know. Now, Yogacar says there is no table actually, because we can never know if there is a table or not. Only thing we can know is sensations. And where are these sensations? These sensations are in consciousness. अब consciousness के अंदर ही सब कुछ है, तो individual क्या है? एक consciousness. और ये individual कहाँ है? World में. ये world कहाँ है? World क्या है? Supreme consciousness. यानी individual means pravritti vigyan. Vigyan means consciousness, and supreme consciousness or the world or the reality is alay vigyan. Alay vigyan is the supreme consciousness. To understand this, you have to understand an analogy. There is an ocean. Supposedly, this is an ocean. In this ocean, there are various waves. There are bubbles. There are ripples. Fine. Now, when we say waves, where are these waves? In the water. The water. कहाँ से कहाँ originate होती हैं? In the water or in the ocean. Where does wave originate? From the water. Where does the wave end? In the water. What is the wave made up of? Water. What is only different? What differ? What makes one wave different from other? Only the form. Is this form permanent? No, it is temporary. So there is this consciousness. The world is made up of consciousness, supreme consciousness. And this supreme consciousness, according to Yogachar Buddhism, is known as Alay Vigyan. What is Alay Vigyan? Alay Vigyan is the supreme stock or supreme stock of consciousness. Complete consciousness. एक साथ एक बहुत बड़ी consciousness. सारी consciousness जो individual consciousness है कहाँ है? All the human beings, animals, or whatever is conscious is existing there within this Alay Vigyan. How are they existing? Just as a wave. So inside the ocean, inside the sea, how many waves? There can be many waves, and each wave is actually just a small modification of that particular consciousness. एक छोटी सी modification है, बहुत सारी consciousness है, और from that consciousness a small consciousness rises. Rises means gets birth, and this consciousness gets circumstances. कहाँ है circumstances? External world में नहीं, दिमाग में ही है. So according to Yogachar, the pain, the happiness and things, everything is in our mind only. कहीं बाहर नहीं है, कुछ बाहर नहीं है, क्योंकि बाहर तो कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता. We can know only our consciousness. Now, when you feel thirsty, it's in the consciousness. When you feel pain, it's in the consciousness. Actually, it's the consciousness which gets a certain circumstances based on your karmas. And the way you act is actually just the way your consciousness is working. कैसे explain किया इन्होंने ये बड़ी ही बड़ा अलग सा एक perspective कैसे explain किया? They compared it with dreams. In dreams, बताओ मुझे, how are dreams and reality different? Reality मतलब ये हमारी जो empirical reality है, जो हमारी empirical reality है, the world that we understand as it is. How are they different? In dreams, do you have the sensation of place? हाँ, बिल्कुल. In reality also you get the sensation of place. In dreams, do you get the sensation of time? Yes. In reality also you get the sensation of time. In dreams, do you have causal efficiency? Yes, because in reality also there is causal efficiency. कैसे? भाई यहाँ प्यास लगी, पानी पिया, प्यास बुझ गई. You were thirsty, you drank water, your thirst was quenched. Similarly, in dreams you were thirsty and you drank water in dreams. Your thirst in dreams was quenched in dreams. Then everything. Do you see objects in dreams? Yes. Do you see objects in reality? Yes. Do you feel the fire? Do you feel the fire or the heat or the cold? In dreams? Yes. Do you feel fire, heat, cold, all of these things in reality? Yes. This means, how can you differentiate your dreams from reality? It is just that when you wake up, so you dream for maybe hour or two, you wake up, the moment, till the time you are in dream, जब तक आप dream में हैं, क्या आपको लगता है कि ये सब असली नहीं है? Till the time you are in dream, it feels real. Everything appears vivid, real. Everything is, everything appears real. The pain appears real. The love appears, everything appears real. But only when you wake up, you realize, oh, सपना था. और कई बार तो सपने याद भी रह जाते हैं, है ना? कई बार तो सपने याद भी रह जाते हैं. You remember them, and you remember the feeling associated with that dream. So now Yogachar says this reality that you are experiencing, the table, chair, the things, the life you are living, isn't it like a little more stable dream that you are having? A little more stable dream. ये 1-2 घंटे रहता है, ये 80-90 साल रहता है, बस खत्म. थोड़ा सा अंतर है टाइम पीरियड का, लेकिन 80-90 साल बाद ये वाला रियलिटी भी खत्म. After you are dead, do you have the sensation of place, time, this and that? No. everything ends. Everything ends. This means reality is as conscious as in the dreams. But just like in dreams, there is no material world. कोई dreams के अंदर material object होती है क्या? नहीं. Dreams कहाँ होते हैं? सिर्फ हमारे consciousness में. सिर्फ consciousness में होते हैं dreams. Material object होता है क्या dreams में? कुछ नहीं. According to these people, yes, Satul, it is very close to inception. So even in the reality itself, there are no material objects, but only consciousness. And how is this consciousness? This consciousness is a vast sea, Alay Vigyan. In this, individual consciousness get birth, get pain and happiness according to their karma, accumulate new karma, and gives rise to a new wave or a new birth, causally linked, new birth, causally linked. Till the time, कब तक चलता रहेगा ये? जब तक balance of karma is there. If supposedly karma becomes zero, after that, no new wave will come. No new wave will come. Khatam. And this will be the end of birth and death cycle or the attainment of nirvana. In simple terms. Yes. If you have seen the movie Inception, you can very well understand what we are talking about. It's very close. You can take a homework for this weekend, watch Inception. Yogachar philosophy is just like Brahma of Vedanta. Very close. Very close. Okay? Can you understand this? Now, lovely. If you can understand Yogachar Vigyanvad, it's like you people are really smart, because it takes a lot of smartness and imagination and understanding to understand Yogachar Vigyanvad. Aman, it means that world is only consciousness, nothing. Have you seen Matrix? So in Matrix, just as the world was nothing but digitally created sensation, या फिर digitally created virtual world. Similarly, this Yogachar Vigyanvad accepts that the world is made up of only of consciousness. Fine. Now this Alay Vigyan is what? It is the pure consciousness. Pure consciousness. Something very similar to Brahm. Brahm of Vedanta. Very similar to the Brahm of Vedanta, Alay Vigyan. Now these individual consciousness hai, Pravritti Vigyan. These are called as individual consciousness or Pravritti Vigyan. Now, how these individual consciousness are connected to Alay Vigyan? That connection is known as Kalisht Vigyan. Kalisht Vigyan. Yes, Pratibha, absolutely. Kalisht Vigyan. Sirf names are difficult. Yogachar Vigyanvad is very easy if you understand it once. Similarly, even Madhyamik Shunyavad is very easy if you just understand it once. Fine? Okay. अब इसको कलिष्ट विज्ञान और अलय विज्ञान को समझ लेते हैं. So pravritti vigyan, individual consciousness. How is this individual consciousness guided? This individual consciousness is made up of 5 types of vigyan. किन चीजों से बना है ये जो हमारा इंडिविजुअल कॉन्शियसनेस है? ये हमारा बना हुआ है नंबर 1 स्पर्श विज्ञान. स्पर्श विज्ञान मतलब टच. सो हमारी कॉन्शियसनेस के अंदर क्या आता है? स्पर्श आता है. डू यू हैव द कॉन्शियसनेस ऑफ टच? यस. देन स्वाद विज्ञान, consciousness of taste. Yes. अरे वाह, very good. आप लोगों को तो पता है. Then गंध. What is गंध? गंध विज्ञान, smell. Then श्रव्य. श्रव्य विज्ञान. श्रव्य विज्ञान means hear. Yes, we can hear things. And lastly is दृश्य. That is to see. All these five are 5 types of विज्ञान. 8 तरीके के विज्ञान हैं. Vision, yes. 8 types of विज्ञान has been explained in योगाचार विज्ञानवाद. These are 5, and these 5 are connected with, और इसको हम लोग कैसे कह सकते हैं? These 5 are external sense organs, and then there is a मनोविज्ञान. मनोविज्ञान मतलब क्या होता है? इंटरनल सेंस ऑर्गन और इंटरनल सेंस. सो व्हेन यू फील हैप्पी, सैड, वेयर डू यू फील इट? वेयर इट अपीयर्स? मन में, है ना? इंटरनल कॉन्शियसनेस. यस. सो मनोविज्ञान कितने हो गए? 5 + 6. 7वां है कलिष्ठ विज्ञान, 8वां है अलय विज्ञान. कितने विज्ञान है योगाचार विज्ञानवाद में? 8. They have talked about 8 kinds of consciousness. 5 external consciousness and 6 internal consciousness. All the 6 are part of pravritti vigyan. Pravritti vigyan is what? A combination of these 6 types of consciousness. जो भी चीज, स्वाद, something which can have taste, touch, smell, all of these things collectively pravritti vigyan. Pravritti vigyan is what? Individual consciousness. एक individual बन जाता है. अब ये इंडिविजुअल कहाँ बनता है? अलय विज्ञान. अलय विज्ञान क्या है? प्योर कॉन्शियसनेस और द ओशन ऑफ कॉन्शियसनेस. इट इज ऑल द कॉन्शियसनेस टुगेदर. सारी कॉन्शियसनेस कहाँ है? सब अलय विज्ञान में. लेकिन फ्रॉम दिस अलय विज्ञान, व्हाई डज दिस प्रवृत्ति विज्ञान अपीयर? होता क्यों है? बिकॉज ऑफ इग्नोरेंस. ये अलय विज्ञान से प्रवृत्ति विज्ञान क्यों अराइज हुआ? बिकॉज ऑफ इग्नोरेंस. And what is the cause of ignorance? Kalishta Vigyan. What is Kalishta Vigyan? Now, Kalishta Vigyan is actually the ego. Ego means जब हम में एक sense of ego आने लगती है. According to Yogachar Buddhism, we form into an individual consciousness only because of ego. Ego किस टाइप की? इसको हम नोट से देखेंगे तो ज्यादा अच्छे से आप लोगों को क्लियर हो जाएगा. Let us see here. इसको पढ़ना तो है हमें, लेकिन एक बार समझ लेते हैं, then we will read it. Fine. So here you see. Can you see this? Alay Vigyan. Then second is Kalisht Manovigyan, Manovigyan, Drishya Vigyan, Shravya Vigyan, Gandh Vigyan, Sparsh Vigyan and Swat Vigyan. These are 5 sense organs plus internal sense organ. ये दोनों, ये 6 जब मिल जाते हैं एक साथ, जब ये 6, all these 6 together are known as प्रवृत्ति. मेरी बैटरी जाने वाली है इस टैबलेट की. प्रवृत्ति विज्ञान. व्हाट इज प्रवृत्ति विज्ञान? इंडिविजुअल कॉन्शियसनेस. ठीक है. This individual consciousness is connected to this alay vigyan, which is pure consciousness or a collective consciousness. कैसे connected हैं ये दोनों? By Kalisht Manovigyan. What is Kalisht Manovigyan? It is the consciousness of ego. What is ego? आत्मदृष्टि. False notion of ego. हमें लगता है मैं बाकी सबसे अलग हूँ. We have this notion of ego within us. We understand that this is मेरा, mine, है ना? मेरे कपड़े, मेरे parents, मेरी achievements, all of this. A false notion of ego. We feel we are not connected to others, but we are separate. And then from this sense of identity, we also get the attachment with ego. Attachment to ego मतलब क्या होता है? Attachment to ego के अंदर we love ourselves. We start loving ourselves deeply. मेरी प्राइड, मेरे को कैसे किसी ने इंसल्ट कर दिया, है ना, अच्छा मुझे पीछे बिठा दिया, why do you feel bad? Because you have this self love for yourself. You know, you who do you love the most? You yourself. Everyone loves themselves the most. अगर कभी ऐसी सिचुएशन आ जाए जहाँ पे आपको खुद को बचाना हो और किसी और को बचाना हो, दोनों में से एक बचेगा, है ना? If you can save yourself or you can save other, and only one can be saved, nearly all will save themselves, because this is what is self-love, atma-moh, attachment to ego. Then atmaman. Atmaman matlab happiness about self, happiness about your own self. Happiness में एक भी और आएगा, happiness about self. Since you become most happy when you are appreciated. Someone praises you, someone appreciates you, you become happy. Someone, you get what you desire, you become happy. Why are you happy? Because the self ego gets satisfied. आप अपने आप को, अपनी ईगो को satisfy कर पा रहे हो. So this is like atma moh, atmaman, atma prem, atma drishti. All these are what your sense, this identity or your sense of ego. तो जो आपकी मैं, मेरा, मुझे चाहिए, मेरे desires, मुझे अच्छा लगना चाहिए, मुझे ये होना चाहिए, I want this. So most people don't love other people. They love how they make them feel. So it is like this. So most people don't, actually understand that most of their actions are very selfish, and this is because we have the sense of ego. जब भी आपकी ego बढ़ जाएगी, you will become arrogant, you will become very self-obsessed, and the great achievers are generally having such egos. क्यों? मुझे ma'am, this content is not in my class notes. Is it a new one which we will get later? My opinion. Aditya, this has been shared with you, right? You got these notes, na? Huh. Yes. Okay. Just check Aditya, na? You will find it there. Okay, Pratibha. Just check the second PDF. Okay, fine. Hai? So, how is the individual consciousness formed from the Alay Vigyan? Because of ego or Kalishta Manovigyan. And what is Kalishta Manovigyan? It is itself is a collection of 4 kinds of elements. That is Atma Drishti. मैं, मेरा, मैं अलग हूँ, मतलब मेरी पूछ होनी चाहिए, मेरी तारीफ करे लोग, मुझे अचीव करना है, बाकी सब चाहे फेल हो जाए, मुझे अचीव करना है, ना? I should be the happy one, even if the other person is sad. So what is this? This itself is the notion of ego, and because of this ego, the individual self is created. Okay? Individual self is created. अब असलियत के अंदर, when you see, where is this pravritti vigyan? It is within Alay Vigyan. So if you say, is the relation between pravritti vigyan and Alay Vigyan entirely different? No. कहाँ पे है pravritti vigyan? या individual कहाँ पे है? In overall sea of consciousness or Alay Vigyan. So Alay Vigyan is the whole. Pravritti Vigyan is the modification, a small modification of it. Fine? Yes, Vinod. So these individual consciousness are just modified, small consciousness. जैसे बहुत बड़ा क्ले का pool हो, and from that pool of clay, if we make small figurines, but ultimately they are all clay. From where you have made it? From clay. And if you merge them back, where will they go? Back into the clay. So it is just the individual form that becomes different, nothing else. Everything remains the same. So Kanishta Vigyan is nothing but the sense of ego. We are all part of Alay Vigyan. But why do you feel that you are individual, separate from other people? Even when you hurt other people, you are not affected. Even when we are, we feel that we should be recognized, we should be praised, we should achieve, while others, we don't think about others. Why so? Because there is this Kanishta Vigyan, that is the sense of ego that separates us from the others. Because we have this Kanishta Vigyan, that is why we keep doing karmas. Why do you want to earn more? Because if you earn more, you will enjoy more. So you, the sense of I, you, individual, that's ego. Why do people do any crime? But they mostly do it out of pride. What is pride? किस लिए कर रहे हैं? उसने हमारी इज्जत नहीं करी, उसने हमारी बेइज्जती कर दी, and all those things. Why do they hurt? Because of this ego. If you understand that you are just a temporary modification of a large consciousness, and you start from consciousness and will end in a consciousness of Alay Vigyan, will you be attached to things? No. Do you get attached to things in dreams? So supposedly in your dream, you got nominated as a prince or a princess, and you also find a person you love. But do you get attached to those people? No. Do you get attached to the designation of prince and princesses? Why? Because you know, temporary sapna tha. Similarly, only if you understand that the reality we are in, it is just momentary. It is not permanent. So there are people, just go back into history. There were kings and queens. How many? Hazaro lakho. Lakhs and lakhs of kings and queens. They lived their lives. And now, gone. Nobody remembers them now. So it is just like, just as waves come and go, come and go, come and go, individuals come and go, come and go, come and go. Where? Within consciousness. It is just the rising up of consciousness and going down of consciousness. Rising up of consciousness. And why is there rising again and again? Why is there birth and death of consciousness? Because Kanishta Vigyan, the sense of ego, the sense of ego helps us do karmas. अपने लिए कमा रहे हैं, अपने लिए प्लेजर्स चाहिए, है ना? सब कुछ मैं, मेरे लिए, मेरा फोन, मेरा, you want to own this, you want this and that, and because you want this and that, you do karmas. And if there are karmas, there will be, consequences. So all things according to Yogacar Vigyanvad are part of consciousness. There is no material element. कोई material thing है नहीं. We are just all consciousness, and we are just the pain, the suffering are creation of our own karmas. लेकिन वो सब हमारे दिमाग में है. In reality, there is no mountain. The mountain is in our mind. In reality, there is no trouble. There is no problem. There are no bad circumstances. They are within our mind. And why are they? Because of karmas. If you do bad karmas, your mind will create restrictions. So sometimes we are not successful, not because of anything else, but we stop our own selves. Because there is this feeling that I can't do it. And why this feeling has created I can't do it? Because of karmas. Some bad karmas have risen there. So it is like a complete psychological science. Let me take your doubts. Ma'am, acha ye to ho gaya na? Ma'am, is Kanishta Vigyan part of Pravritti Vigyan? No, it connects Pravritti Vigyan with Alay Vigyan. It's a kind of a mediator in between. Kanishta Vigyan leads to bad karmas. We can say that, yes. Bad or good, we are not saying only bad, good and bad. But ultimately, all the karmas are done because of attachment. And attachment is because of Kanishta Vigyan. All the attachment is because of Kanishta Vigyan. सबसे ज्यादा अटैच हम किससे होते हैं? खुद से, our own self, and even our mood of attachment with others is also self. मेरे पापा, मेरी मम्मी, मेरा भाई, है ना, मेरा बच्चा, मेरा फोन, मेरा पैसा, all of these are what? मेरा, मैं. So this means that the most important thing that we from where our attachment starts is mine, मैं, self, ego. Hundreds and thousands of children are dying. Hundreds and thousands of parents are dying. Hundreds and thousands of people are getting affected. You see, things happening in Palestine and Israel, things happening in Russia and Ukraine, etc., etc. But we are not concerned. We are not getting hurt. We are not getting, we are not crying. We are not feeling the pain enough. Why? Because our ego is not, attached. But the moment you attach mera, the pain will start. The suffering will start. So this ego is the starting point of suffering. So from pure consciousness to individual, what connects Kalish to Vigyan? Bilkul, Atul, we can say that. So Kalish is cause and Alay is effect. No. Alay is the effect. Rather, it's not, it's cause and effect rather. You have to understand whole and part. So if you say Alay Vigyan is the complete space, then if you say this is the complete space, then this triangle is what? प्रवृत्ति विज्ञान. ये जो अंदर का स्पेस है ये क्या है? प्रवृत्ति विज्ञान. और ये जो ट्रायंगल जिसने क्रिएट किया है वो क्या है? कलिष्ठ विज्ञान. तो ये बाउंड करता है कलिष्ठ विज्ञान. ईगो के कारण एक इंडिविजुअल सेंस क्रिएट होती है, इंडिविजुअल कॉन्शियसनेस क्रिएट होती है, and that is pravritti vigyan. And overall this complete space in itself in which there are numerous figures, what is this? Alay vigyan. Fine. Do they believe in perception at consciousness level only? Everything is consciousness, so the perception is itself a consciousness. It's not of any exterior material object. वो किसी बाहर की वस्तु का perception नहीं है. It's not the perception of external world, but it is the perception of consciousness within. Yes, Ashutosh. Do they believe in 5 skandhas? Yes. Everybody believes in 5 skandhas because those 5 skandhas have been told by Buddha. So according to this pravritti vigyan, this pravritti vigyan is a combination of 5 skandhas. Now here when you say roop, so you might get confused, so I'm explaining. So roop here is only form, not material body, but only form. So form of our consciousness. In some way it is related to empiricism of Western world. Most closely, if we can understand, it is closely related to Berkeley, idealism of Berkeley in Western philosophy. So people who have not studied Western philosophy, it's okay, because when we will do Berkeley, I will refer to Yogacar. I know a Western philosopher, Berkeley, is very closely similar in manner like Yogacar. Is Alay Vigyan, not Alayvad, Alay Vigyan a negative concept since it is because of ego? No, Alay Vigyan is the pure consciousness or the composite consciousness. Whereas ego is Kalisht Vigyan, and ego is again, negative. It gives the property of attachment. Okay? Fine. Ma'am, if world itself is consciousness, then wouldn't that mean it is alive as well? Aman, we should not use words which were not used by the theorists themselves. Of course, we can understand the same thing in different ways, but we cannot say the world is alive or not, because these words were not used by Buddhist scholars. Agar hum us tarah se baat karenge, to it will give a perception that we are talking about Jainism, but we are not talking about Jainism. We are talking about Buddhism. उनका वे सोचने का बिल्कुल अलग है. So we should never use words which gives a confusing which confuses the examiner. कि इसको बच्चे को ना clarity नहीं है Buddhism और Jainism में. बिल्कुल नहीं use करने ऐसे कोई भी words. Alay Vigyan is the highest in Yogachar. Yes, Vikas, absolutely. Alay Vigyan is the highest reality. Ma'am, if a person overcomes Kalisht Vigyan, can he or she attain Nirvana partially? Yes, the moment you अभी आएगा Nirvana वाला part हम discuss करेंगे. So the moment you remove Kalisht Vigyan, the moment your ego is gone, you start doing disinterested action. आपके कर्मा का बैलेंस जीरो हो जाता है और जैसे ही आपका कर्मा का बैलेंस जीरो हो जाता है, you merge back into अलय विज्ञान. ये जो वेव क्रिएट हो रही थी ना बार बार एक से दूसरी वेव, एक से तो देखा अभी पानी में ऐसे 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 वेव क्रिएट होती रहती हैं, एक से दूसरी, इस वेव से दूसरी वेव, दूसरी वेव से तीसरी वेव क्रिएट होती रहती है. Ripples, yes. So if this momentum is broken, and how can this momentum be broken? By removing ignorance. By removing ignorance. How we can remove ignorance? Eightfold path. The same Ashtangic mark. When you follow, it leads to removal of ignorance. And when the ignorance is removed, what do we achieve? Nirvana. No more new waves. No more Pravritti Vigyan will be created. No more individuals will be created. Because it is the absolute merger in Alay Vigyan. Since individual consciousness does not exist before Kalisht Vigyan, then what is it that possesses ego? No, you just don't have to understand इसके बाद ये आया, उसके बाद ये आया, नहीं. It is a kind of कोई किसी के बाद नहीं आया, ये सब एक साथ है. Alay Vigyan is there. Similarly, Kalisht Vigyan is also there. Similarly, Pravritti Vigyan is also there. All of them are existing simultaneously. And only when the Pravritti Vigyan, the individual realizes the Pratitya Samutpad, when the Pratitya Samutpad is realized, the Kalisht Vigyan, the sense of ego gets dissolved. Sense of ego chali jati hai. Jaise sense of ego jati hai, the person merges with Alay Vigyan, that is Nirvana. Yes, Ashutosh, perfect. Aim is to convert Pravritti Vigyan into Alay Vigyan. Yes, very right. Fine? Understood? पढ़ ले एक बार, है ना? Let us read Yogachar Vigyanvad. Okay. Should we have to write the social example? Yes, Pratibha, you can write. If you want to explain and you find that by using example you will be better able to explain, use this example. This is a valid example. So, Yogachar. This school is also known as Vigyanvad, Yogachar Vigyanvad. Important thinkers of this school of Yogachar are Maitreya, Asang, Vasubandhu, etc. These are the famous scholars. Second, it is named Yogachar, not Ka, Yogachar, as they emphasize on the practice of yoga practices as well as conduct. It is also known as Vigyanvad because it accepts consciousness to be the only reality and rejects the reality of material world. Why is it called Vigyanvad? Because it believes that Vigyan or consciousness is the only reality. They reject material objects. And why they are called as Yogachar? Because they believe in yogic practices. Yogic practices means meditation. Consciousness को कैसे control करोगे? जो Kalisht Vigyan है, the sense of ego, how will you overcome it? By using meditation, by using eightfold path, and at the end, using the Samadhi, the last step of eightfold path. This is the only strictly idealist philosophy in India. एक ही idealist philosophy है ढंग से. That is this Yogachar philosophy. According to this school, reality of consciousness must be accepted because any rejection cannot explain ideas like doubt. So rather we will do it. This Yogachar philosophy must work on two things. First, they should explain the rejection of material bodies or material world or the external world. पहले ही उन्हें एक्सप्लेन करना पड़ेगा ना, मटेरियल नहीं होता, मैटर कुछ नहीं होता. They will first reject the matter. Second, they will also prove the presence of consciousness. To prove the presence of consciousness means bhavatmak. So bhavatmak means bhav मतलब something which exists. आत्म मतलब उसको प्रूव करने के लिए जो आर्गुमेंट्स दिए जाते हैं. So to prove the presence of consciousness, first argument is this one. This is also an argument for Bhavatmak only. It is very similar to a Western philosopher's argument, Descartes. Now, Upachar Vigyanvad says, the moment you say someone is thinking, someone is doubting, someone is walking, this means there is someone conscious. So, कुछ तो conscious है जो सोच रहा है. Even if you doubt, then who is doubting? There must be some consciousness which is doubting. This means to doubt itself proves the consciousness. आपने कहा नहीं, हम नहीं मानते, हम तो कहेंगे कि there is no soul, there is no consciousness. But who is saying this, that there is no consciousness? To say this thing, to think about such thing, then there is a need of consciousness. This means the rejection itself is a proof of consciousness. If you reject consciousness, you prove consciousness. It is something like this. Similar argument is also given by Descartes, first argument. This argument is to prove the presence of consciousness. Second argument is from dreams. This we have done. Just as in dreams, we see things as outside, but in reality, things in dreams were within our consciousness only. Similar in this empirical world, things appear outside, but they are within our own consciousness only. बाहर लगती हैं हमें, लेकिन असलियत में चीजें कहाँ हैं? They are within our consciousness only. There is no external world. People who accept realism, Hinian, give the argument of saying that a definite place at a definite time, continuously with others, also seeing them for the definite things, shows the quality of our kriya karitva. Basically, ये वही जो हमने बताया था ना कि भाई सपने का पानी सपने में प्यास बुझा देता है. Similarly, the real water quenches thirst in real life because both dreams and real life have a kriya karitva. But it's saying this only. Maithili, this is Maithili from Chennai. Just joined the last for my option for the reason we are conducting the classes. I have only one humble obligation. I have big challenge in understanding India. Oh yes, Maithili. I always explain things in both the languages. So I generally and preferably use English, and sometimes I translate it in Hindi, or when I speak in Hindi, I translate it in English also. It's never that I say one concept in one language. Generally, I use both. Majorly, it is English because it is an English batch. I prefer using English, but because a lot of students are very comfortable in understanding some things in Hindi. That is why sometimes I translate whatever I speak in Hindi also, just for a better understanding and a better reach with the students. But trust me, you will miss nothing because I don't speak in Hindi, which I don't speak in English. Like I keep a continuous tab that I should be translating each and every word, or I should be doing everything, completing everything in English preferably. Oh, this is your first class. It will be very difficult for you to understand today's class, Maithili, because we are in the middle of this very difficult philosophy. There are only two philosophies which are difficult in India, Indian philosophy. One is Buddhism and second is Vedanta. All else are very easy. So we are in one of those the difficult sessions, and it's okay. You can first complete the earlier classes. It's better because in that sense you will be on right time with the class itself. It's okay. It's okay. No problem. Complete your earlier classes, and I'm giving you time also. So Friday there will be most probably Friday or maybe I'll just say, see, one day there will be a test and Saturday, Sunday will be off. So in those 2-3 days, you can cover all the previous classes. Go for a marathon session. Marathon session in the sense, sit in the morning and cover 2, 3, 4 classes in one day. In that sense, your syllabus will get covered easily. Fine. And you can also increase the speed. It's okay if you watch the classes on 1.5 or a higher speed if it is comfortable to you. Okay, Matthew. Okay, so arguments from dreams. This is Kriya Karitva, and all the 4. This is also you can read. You can read this part also. It also says that just as in dreams, we see things, we have sensations of things. Similarly, in the real world also, we just have sensations of things. Just as no material thing is required for dreams, similarly, no material thing is required for empirical experience also. ये जो दुनिया है, इसके अंदर भी टेबल वेबल नहीं है, सिर्फ experience है टेबल का. Just as in dreams we feel things like table, similarly here also we are just perceiving or we are just feeling the things as something as table, but there is no table. Everything is consciousness only. And so it's like, according to Vasubandhu, all these 4 conditions are also fulfilled by dreams. In dreams, we have the consciousness about definite place, definite time, as well as things in dreams are equally capable of producing effects, like water in dreams can quench thirst in dreams. The only condition that how can different people share the same experience, but what is different in empirical? So this table is not just seen by me, but also seen by numerous people. When we are in a class, the class, everyone sees the same class. Now to explain this, they are saying many people can have the same dream, isn't it? So many people can have the same dream. So उन्होंने explain करने की कोशिश करी है, but yes, it is difficult to explain how a lot of people can have the same dream. But definitely, it makes a little difficult for them to explain this, but yet they have explained them. Then there is this principle known as Sahopalam Niyam. What is Sahopalam Niyam? It says that blue color and the consciousness of blue color are not 2 different things, but they are the same thing. Idealism tabhi work karega. All idealist philosophies or theories believe that objects are nothing but qualities. Objects are just sensations. So if you try to understand it like this, so what is a table? Table is nothing but solidity, shape, hardness. What's the other thing that you can see? A kind of a sound if you tap it. All of this together. So how do you know it's solid? Sensation. Shape, sensation. So all these are related to sensation. So can you say a table is nothing but sensation only? Because you can never see a real table. You can know only through some qualities, and the qualities are known through sensation. So can we say that table is nothing but sensation? And where do you have sensation? In your consciousness. So where is table? Table is in the consciousness. So now these people say this thing, and this thing, when said in Buddhist philosophy, this is termed as a principle, Sahopalam Niyam. It's a little, not directly asked, but I'm just telling you, supposedly sometime, Buddhism becomes really difficult in UPSC. So, for those exigencies, I have given you this term. Okay. Argument from illusion, you will become, when you will read it after 2-3 times, you will understand what we are talking about. Then how do we reject material world? How Yogacar has rejected material world? Pramanu Sankhat arguments. According to Yogacar, even if we accept external objects, we cannot know about them as if they are made up of Pramanu. Now, Pramanus are very small and imperceptible. Now, what are they saying? How they have rejected the material world? First argument they have given is the world is made up of Pramanu, but Pramanu are too small. Can you have perception of these small Pramanus because they're imperceptible? No. Now, there are, it's like when you cannot know Pramanu, and these Pramanus are momentary, can you know the world? Can you know the material world which is momentary and which is made up of these Pramanus which you yourself cannot perceive? No. So, it is like they reject the material world with one argument. Second argument is, of course, dreams. Just as dreams doesn't require material elements, material matter, or anything material, similarly, the reality to have sensation doesn't require material things. Then let us understand metaphysics of it. So Shanikvad is also applicable to there. Yes, multiverse theory. Yes, Arpita. So you have to understand all the science fiction that we, enjoy deeply, and somewhere or the other, very inspired from one or the other philosophy. You take any sci-fi. At the core of it is one or the other kind of philosophy. So Aman, idealism or idealist is a kind of a philosophy which accepts only consciousness to be real. जो material things को reject कर देते हैं. There is no material world, idealism. Philosophy has two kind of division. So some philosophies are idealist. Idealist philosophies are which accept only consciousness to be real, whereas other are realists. They accept things are real. तो अगर टेबल बाहर है, असली है, external है और real है, if things or table or anything is outside and real, then this school is a realist. If they say there is no table outside, but table is inside my mind, because I can have the sensation only in my mind, then it is idealist. So Yogacar is an idealist philosophy, whereas Tantrika and Nirvashika are realist philosophies. Fine? Yes, Inception seems very close to Yogacar. All these movies take inspiration from one or the other philosophies, definitely. Let us read. According to Vigyanvad, there are 8 types of Vigyan. Alay Vigyan, which is the background or supreme consciousness where all Vigyans exist and are contained in the form of seeds or impressions. Therefore, it is also known as Sarvabijika. So, individual consciousness exists just like seeds or impressions. And all consciousnesses are contained in one supreme consciousness or one background consciousness. That is Alay Vigyan, also known as Sarvabijika. Sarvabijika means all. Bij matlab seeds. Seeds of all individual consciousness is in Alay Vigyan. Fine. And Alay serves as 2 purposes. Number 1, it receives the impressions of past Vigyans. जो ये हमने diagram बनाया था ना, it receives the impressions of past Vigyan. तो ये past consciousness का impressions यानी संस्कार्स transfer हुए new birth and gives rise to new Vigyans by maturing those impressions. So once this person attains a birth कैसे होगा? According to the past karmas, so supposedly karmas were very good, born into a rich family, but some karmas were bad, therefore emotionally unsatisfactory relationships. Now in this life also, this person does a lot of karmas. So what is this? New karmas or new kind of impressions are created. नए impressions create हो रहे हैं. And the record of impressions are then later transferred to a new consciousness. There is new consciousness, new consciousness. So birth and death होता रहेगा. कब तक होता रहेगा? Till the time the momentum is broken by understanding Pratitya Samutpad and following the Eightfold Path. And once the attachment is gone, Nirvana. No more waves, no more individual consciousness. Kalisht Manovigyan, it is the mediator between Alay Vigyan and Pravritti Vigyan. It has 4 types: Atma Drishti, Atmamo, Atmaman, Atmaprem. ये हमने देख लिया है ना? And when all these kaleshas are removed, when all these selfhoods are removed, which are also known as kaleshas, are removed through yogic practices. योगिक प्रैक्टिसेस कैसे हमने देखा था eightfold path में slowly and steadily you start detaching yourself, then only one can reach the state of samadhi and then to the state of pragya or nirvana. Pragya and nirvana are the same thing, which means individual consciousness goes back to alay vigyan, वापस से अलय विज्ञान में मर्ज हो जाते हैं. बाकी सारे क्या है, ये प्रवृत्ति विज्ञान के पार्ट्स हैं. The relation between alay vigyan and pravritti vigyan. Alay vigyan means supreme pure consciousness. Pravritti vigyan means individual consciousness. Is neither of identity nor of difference. The relation is of tadatma. A very important term, tadatma. Can you say alay vigyan and pravritti vigyan are same? Can you say ocean and wave are same? No, because wave is a small modification of alay vigyan. It's not same. But are they completely different? No, because ultimately wave is part of the ocean itself. Alay vigyan is part of the pravritti vigyan is part of alay vigyan only. So when this kind of relation is there, where there is both, this is neither identical nor different. The relation is of tadatma. Tadatma is a relation of very, to understand the relation of tadatma, it is a relation between clay and pot. So pot is made up of clay, but it is not just clay. This clay has a form. Similarly, gold and jewelry. Jewelry is made up of gold. Similarly, individual consciousness is made up of alay vigyan, but this has form. Individual consciousness has form or it. According to Vigyanvad, there are 3 levels of reality and truth. 3 level पे इन्होंने reality को accept किया है. Very interesting, very interesting. This will come again. So we will just finish our Yogacharya Vigyanvad today and start with Madhyamik Shunyavad tomorrow. But what are the 3 levels of reality Vigyanvad has accepted? So to understand this, there are 3 ways of looking at it. Number 1, we imagine things. There are illusions. There are hallucinations. Like we can think about a mountain of chocolate. We can think about mermaids. We can think about unicorns. We all can think about all these things. And because we can think about it, this means our consciousness can hold these things. जो फिक्शन हम देखते हैं, imagination हम करते हैं, what are these? These are परिकल्पित reality or imaginary reality. Dreams are part of it. So in dreams, we see things, we feel things, but they exist only for a small period, then they are gone. छोटा सा dream होता है 2 घंटे 3 घंटे का, gone. The dream is gone, it goes away, खत्म. This is also a reality. So जब तक हम dream में होते हैं, हमें dream एक reality लगता है. We are in dream, somebody is hurting us, we feel bad, we feel angry, and everything happens in dreams. Now till the time we are in dream, it appears real. पता चलता है कि जब हम dream में होते हैं कि dream चल रहा है? नहीं. Till the time we are in dream, it appears absolutely real. But what kind of reality it is? Parikalpit or imaginary reality. Parikalpit. So one kind of reality is parikalpit or imaginary reality, which has no authentic existence. It includes hallucination, imaginations, and dreams, etc. ये सब इसका part है imagination और parikalpit reality का. Then second is paratantra or empirical reality. Paratantra means dependent. Dependent reality, empirical reality. The things in this object, अभी जो दुनिया चल रही है, जो दुनिया है, it is all connected to the causal. Yes, we know that it is influenced from the Vedanta. We can, some philosophers say this. The empirical reality मतलब ये दुनिया, this world. And in this world, things appear dependent on one another. एक चीज दूसरे को cause करती है. Seed causes sapling causes plant causes tree causes fruits causes seeds are taken in by the birds eat food, birds give rise to eggs give rise to new birds, all of these things are going. Everything is related to everything else. Now, in this reality, it is a little more stable than dreams. Dreams to 2-3 घंटे. This reality is a little more stable, but again, this reality also goes away because it is temporary. Everything is temporary in this world. And once you realize that everything is temporary, you want to know what is permanent. Because if things in this world are temporary, if people are temporary, events are temporary, objects are temporary, the phone is temporary, world is, everything is temporary in this world, then what is permanent? You want to know what is permanent? And the moment you meditate, you follow Eightfold Path, you finish your karmas, you realize what? You realize the ultimate reality. That is the Parinishpanna reality. आपको क्या दिखता है? आपको Parinishpanna reality दिखती है. That is the true reality, and this is the highest reality where consciousness is free from duality of subject and object. जो Parinishpanna reality है, that is Alay Vigyan. This is the Alay Vigyan. This Alay Vigyan has no duality of object and subject. सब कुछ एक है, सब कुछ merged है. This will become more clear when we do Vedanta. This concept will become more clear. But yes, this Alay Vigyan is known as Tathagat or Tathagat Garb or Dharmakaya. This pure consciousness or the ultimate reality has been given many names. बहुत अलग-अलग नाम से जाना जाता है. Parinishpanna reality, same. Alay Vigyan, same. Tathagat, same. Tathagat Garb. Tathagat क्या बुद्धा का नाम था तथागत, है ना? Tathagat Garb, same. Dharmakaya, same. All of these words are same in meaning. Don't get confused. There are different names used by different scholars, but all of them mean the same thing. Similar concept of three realities is also found in Shunyavada and Advaita Vedanta. Shunyavada भी हम जब कल करेंगे और उसके बाद जब हम Advaita Vedanta करेंगे. The same concept of three realities is there. And this is the comparison with them. So this is more understandable once we finish it. Once we finish Vedanta. I already told you there is a Western philosopher, Berkeley, who has also not accepted material object and has accepted only reality to consciousness. And you will, realize the relationship between Berkeley and this Yogachar Vigyanvad once we also complete Western philosophy. Of course, we know Buddhism is atheistic. Yes, Tathagat is Alay Vigyan. Yes, Monica. But ma'am, how is it linked between eternalism and nihilism? The logic is not fully clear. Oh, why? Nihilism says there is nothing. Nihilism says there is nothing. Eternalism says everything is permanent. But are things permanent? No. Are things not there? Non-being है क्या? कुछ भी नहीं है क्या है? क्या है? Dependent origination. Things exist. But for how long? For a moment. It causes another. So things are dependent. They are related in cause and effect. चीजें हैं तो सही, लेकिन permanent है क्या? नहीं. क्या नहीं है? नहीं है. ऐसा नहीं है कि नहीं है. हैं. But they are dependent origination. थोड़े समय के लिए है, फिर नए को जन्म देती हैं और चली जाती हैं. So they exist only for some moment. They give rise to a new thing and then they are gone. They give rise to a new thing and then they are gone. So things are there, but things exist for a moment. This is Kshanikvad. Is Yogachar saying that after Nirvana, consciousness not blows up but becomes Alay Vigyan? Yes, because the blowing up is the Hinyan concept. Blowing up is the Hinyan concept. Yogachar is definitely saying, अभी हमने करा नहीं है Nirvana, लेकिन yes, Yogachar is definitely saying this, that Nirvana means merger into Alay Vigyan. Nirvana for Yogachar means merger with the Alay Vigyan. As the Kalisht Manovigyan or the Kalisht Manovigyan or the ego gets dissolved, our karmas lose attachment and merge into the overall reality, that is Alay Vigyan. Yes, absolutely, absolutely perfect, Atul. So slowly and steadily, you see the positive connotation of nirvana is starting to come. पहले तो एकदम खत्म ही हो जा रहे थे, अब क्या है? अलय विज्ञान. So this means nirvana means merger into alay vigyan. You become pure consciousness. You become part of what? Pure consciousness, and you exist always as pure consciousness. So nirvana means that you do not remain part of, or you do not remain bound in an individual consciousness, but you become part of the supreme consciousness. आप supreme consciousness बन गए सीधा. आप एक individual consciousness में बंद नहीं हो. You are not bound in an individual consciousness, but you become part of supreme consciousness, and that is a positive connotation where there is definitely removal of suffering. At the same time, there is also the sense of peace or existing forever as alay vigyan. Yes, Pinky, there is only one alay vigyan, which is the one and only storehouse of all consciousness. सारी consciousness कहाँ पे है? अलय विज्ञान. Fine. Okay. So let us criticize Yogacar Vigyanvad. है ना? Very interesting criticisms also. Criticism क्या होंगे? आप खुद सोचो. What can be the criticisms of अलय विज्ञान? मतलब इसको अगर हम नहीं भी देखें तो क्या क्या criticisms होंगे? Number one, Ashutosh. Yes, sir. So, just because we can know the world only through consciousness doesn't mean that the world exists. There is no world outside consciousness. क्योंकि हम चीजों को सिर्फ कॉन्शियसनेस में जान सकते हैं, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि बाहर कुछ है ही नहीं, है ना? डेफिनेटली. No, we do not get happiness in alay vigyan, but we get peace, tranquility, existence in alay vigyan. Completely changed the real philosophy of Buddha. Yes, Pratibha, absolutely. Monica, is everything idealistic? Nirvana is also idealistic. Yes, absolutely idealistic Nirvana. And Yogacar, always a question: it is real or not? Huh? What? What are you? Okay. Okay. So number one. So let us criticize. Number one, when we experience external object, then how can we accept them to be unreal? Now this is a criticism by Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya says, Yogacar wale log wo hain. Yogacar are those people who eat food, and then they say there is no real food. Food is only in our mind. If food is in consciousness only, can you fill your stomach just by thinking about food? If you just think about food, will your stomach be filled? No. You need real food, external food. So this is the criticism Shankaracharya has done. But again, did Yogacar Vigyanvad say the food? You have to understand that Yogacar says just as food of dreams fills the stomach of dreams. सपने वाला खाना सपने में पेट भर देता है. Similarly, the food of empirical world, जो दुनिया है ना, ये वाली दिखने वाली दुनिया, the food of empirical world fills the stomach of empirical world. But is the food in dreams real? क्या जो खाना dreams में था वो real है? नहीं था ना. Similarly, the food of empirical world is also not real. Ultimately, everything is consciousness. So, the Shankaracharya has criticized, but again, they have made a criticism to not in a very on a very logical grounds. Not logical grounds को उन्होंने criticize नहीं किया, but yes, they have criticized Yogacar Vigyanvad. The rejection of external world itself proves that there is something external. The moment you say there is nothing outside, this means that you have the notion of outside in your mind. You have something outside, and this proves there is something outside, isn't it? Logical criticisms, yes, sir. All of these are logical criticisms. Sahopalam Niyam. So Sahopalam Niyam is what is Sahopalam Niyam? Sahopalam Niyam is the concept whereby the blue color means the sensation of blue color, isn't it? Now, this is a theory of epistemology. How can we know the reality, isn't it? So this principle is a theory of epistemology, which tells us how we can know the reality. But Buddhists, or not Buddha, the Yogachar Vigyanvadins or the monks of Yogachar are using it as a metaphysical argument. Now they are trying to prove there is no external world by using this argument. But this is all an epistemological argument. How can they use it in metaphysical argument? उसको नहीं use किया जा सकता. Can this argument be used to reject the existence of external world? No, because this argument was created just to understand how we can know the reality. Then fourth, Alay Vigyan is accepted to be permanent. Therefore, destroying the Anityavada of Buddhism. Now, when Buddha said everything is anitya, non-permanent, but Yogachar Vigyanvad has accepted Alay Vigyan to be permanent, which goes against the initial theory of Buddhism, Anityavada theory of Buddhism. Fifth, if existence of an object depends on consciousness, then why can't we create things at will? So if all the things are in our consciousness, ultimately, pain is in our consciousness, everything is in our consciousness, table is in our consciousness, pahad, nadi, ped, all these mountain, rivers and trees, etc. Everything is in our consciousness. Then why can't we create things at will? So I want to use my consciousness to create a mountain of gold. Why can't I create it? This is the criticism. But what will be the defense of Yogachar? Yogachar, people will say, ultimately, what kind of things will be created in your consciousness depends on your karmas. So if you have good karma, the good thoughts, good circumstances will be created in your consciousness. If you have done bad karma, if you are bound to suffer, then you will have environment things which are negative in character. Example, good karma. All things will happen nicely. You will keep studying. Your good karmas are there. You will like studying. You will like to practice more. All of these things. According to Yogachar Vigyanvad, all of this is nothing but your consciousness responding towards the environment created by your good karmas. And if something bad has happened, more destructions. So it is like we cannot create because it is dependent on karma. Yogachar ka defense hoga. Sixth, according to Shankaracharya, comparison of empirical world with the dreams is not right because reality is shared by many people and is continuous, but dreams are personal and temporary. Again, the same argument जो हम लोगों ने देखा था last में, that dreams are individual and permanent and private, personal and private. So dreams exist for few hours, but the empirical reality is a little longer. It is a little longer, and how people share this reality. The same lecture is being heard by all 250 people. Like I don't know how many have joined the online class. Let me see. बाकी सब क्या कर रहे हैं आजकल घर पे? How many? 68. See, this is the consistency you people show. There are 250 people in the batch and 68 have joined the class. We need to take an update over this. बाकी बच्चे क्या कर रहे हैं? Siddharth, ask for the the reason why people, or rather maybe some people are working, they watch the recorded video. Okay, fine. Okay. Then comparison with illusion is also not right, because if somebody has seen snake before, they cannot have an illusion of snake by looking at the rope. So comparison with illusion is again not right. And this will become more clear when we complete Vedant. क्योंकि वेदांत से बहुत मिलता जुलता है, वहां पे भी ये सारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स दोबारा आएंगे, all of these concepts will come again but in a different light definition, but they will become more understandable. Now so Tantrika criticizes why blue color and the consciousness of blue color occur together. It does not mean they are identical. So Tantrika are realist schools. Realist है वो लोग, realist लोगों के हिसाब से तो there are things which are blue in color and we have the consciousness of blue color, isn't it? They are two separate things. But because Yogacara is an idealist school, they will reject the blue color. According to them, blue color means sensation of blue colors. So very simple. So Tantrika will criticize them. And to say something, we can only say something A is like B only when we know A and B both, and when we are saying that our consciousness appears as external. हमारी consciousness कैसी लगती है external? तो हमें external तो पता होना चाहिए. We must know. We must know there is something external. तो external नहीं पता तो कैसे? अगर external नहीं है तो हमें कैसे पता कुछ external है? So all of these are the criticisms of Yogachar Vigyanvad. Fine. So we have completed Yogachar Vigyanvad school. Tomorrow we will start with Madhyamika Shunyavad. Let us take, if you have any doubt, if Nirvan can be permanent, why can't Alay Vigyan be permanent? It is, isn't it like Nirvan also? So yes, even the permanency of Nirvan has been criticized to Sudhanshu, and has been criticized. Attendance system is required. Yes, I feel, attendance system is required. Ashutosh, if we detach suffering in our dream, then we should get Nirvan. It's not possible because we aren't under control of our consciousness in our dreams. Can you dream what you really want to? Actually, dreams are unconscious, so you cannot control. That is why you cannot attain Nirvana in dreams. If our consciousness is only dependent on previous karmas, that we cannot create our new karma for next life. Why? Because again, the environment created will be depending on previous karma, but how you respond to it will create your new karma. Supposedly, there is a person X and a person Y. Now the person X and Y both have the same situation, whereby someone has insulted them. Someone calls them up and did not turn up, or insult now Mr. X becomes angry, very angry, starts beating the other person, takes on revenge, and he holds grudge against the person who has insulted him. Why? The Y understands that it's okay, I have read Buddhism. This person is temporary. This insult is temporary. It doesn't, matter much. Because ultimately everything is temporary, and why to take so much load in life? So the person forgives and just avoids the whole scenario. The situation is the same, but our response is different. So the insight of the situation is created by the past karma, but how a person responds to those situations creates new karma. So the person who became angry, who became who started beating up, he is the one who actually accumulated bad karma. The one who forgave, the Mr. Y, accumulated, neutral karma. He did not, did not actually accumulate any bad karma. Fine. I mean, the concept of this blue color thing now. We will do a philosopher mood in Western philosophy. I did not emphasize it much here. I understand that it is a difficult concept, but I did not emphasize it here because there is a philosopher in Western philosophy, Mood, and his whole philosophy is based on this argument of blue and blue color, sensation of blue color. Don't worry. Once we complete Mood, you will get hold of it from here also. Fine. Is it okay, students? So let us. आज लग रहा है philosophy पढ़ी है. अभी तक क्या पढ़ रहे थे? तो ठीक है बच्चों. Ma'am, as we are getting notes in live class and you are reading in front of us, is there any possibility it applies for GS classes as well? please ma'am, it will be very helpful so that we will not miss points. If not, while dictating the notes in live class, we will miss more words again. We need to watch the recording. It is taking extra time, ma'am. Your way of teaching, if it is a 5 to 3 as well, it will be more helpful. Chetna, I will ask, because every teacher's teaching style is a little different. So I'll ask if teachers can do that. And if you people are liking it, definitely I will try to ask other teachers to emulate it. Ma'am, was the example of Diya given by Buddha himself? Yes, absolutely, given by Buddha himself. Pratibha, ma'am, please can you tell why Jainas wear mask and cut their hair? So they wear mask because they feel that even when we have, breath, so when we take breath, we exhale hot air, and this hot air can kill a lot of microorganisms. So they don't want to hurt those microorganisms. That is why they wear a cloth. And this cloth does what? It moderates the temperature of our breath. It doesn't kill microorganisms. They cut their hair again because hair is also kind of a pudgal, no? Matter karmic particle. So they remove it. Ma'am, when is the test and the syllabus for test? So Arpita, the syllabus for test is Charvak, Jain and Buddhism. Tomorrow we will complete Mahayana Buddhism. Tomorrow our Buddhism will be completed. And I wanted to keep test on 13, but I see that a lot of you will not be able to prepare it properly. And I want you people to give this first test properly, because if you pad loge na, it will get prepared. There is nothing much. You just have to revise class notes 15-20 times. Your mains is prepared. You just have to be sure. I want to make sure that you revise these things. And the more you revise, the better answers you will be able to write. So, what we can do, so I want you people to revise at least 2 or 3 times the Charvak, Jainism and Buddhism. So I want to give you the weekend. Let me see if I can put the test on 16th. 16th को कर लेते हैं, नहीं तो 17th को कर लेते हैं. Yes, for Western philosophy, let us have the test on 13th. Can we have the test on 13th? Western philosophy people, 13th को कर लें क्या test? 13th यानी परसों, day after tomorrow. Why? Why, Pratibha? Where are the other people? Western philosophy people. कहाँ हो बच्चों? दो बताओ, जल्दी जल्दी बताओ. हाँ, बच्चे तो सारे बैठे हैं एकदम चुपचाप, एकदम पार्थ भी है, हर्षित भी है, अक्षत भी है, निकिता भी है. थर्टींथ ओके, ठीक है. So let us keep a test of Western philosophy on 13th and Indian philosophy on 16th. क्या कहते हो? Done? है ना? 13th and 16th. So Western philosophy 13th and Indian philosophy 16th. आपके दोनों टेस्ट भी हो जाएंगे फर्स्ट बैच के. सेकंड टेस्ट का आपके पास सफिशिएंट टाइम भी मिल जाएगा, बिकॉज दे आर न्यू टू फिलॉसफी. They will get a little more time to prepare for their test. Philosophy is all about if you are if you do it right, marks एकदम बढ़िया से मिलते हैं, है ना? So let us do this 13th and 16th. Fine. You will get the complete details of the test by your coordinator, and it will be posted on the groups. Okay. Bye bye. Study well, kids. Let us meet tomorrow and finish Mahayana Buddhism. Fine. Bye bye.